You know, in order to win the Republican nomination, a candidate must have the support of at least 1,144 delegates at the party's nominating convention. Usually, that's all worked out during the primary season, but when the race is close, it could lead to what's called a brokered convention. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Comcast Newsmakers On the Vote. I'm Robert Trenum, and my guest is JoDee Winterhof, a Democratic strategist. JoDee, it's always good to see you.
Great to see you, too,
So
Robert.
it is way too early to really understand the dynamics between a brokered convention or a contested convention, but I think for those people out there, the viewers at home that are watching the program right now, they're hearing a little bit about this because the Republicans are kind of running neck and neck right now. What is a brokered convention?
Well, a brokered convention is basically where the vote of the delegates actually goes to the convention itself. And we rarely see these in history on either side of the aisle. But in past history, like if you look back 50, 60 years.
That was pretty commonplace.
It was the commonplace. It was what happened. But in more modern times where the conventions are on TV and it's much more of a public event than a party event, we haven't seen so many brokered conventions.
Let me ask you something. I'm really trying to ask this question in a very academic way. Is a brokered convention, is that a good thing? And the reason why I ask that question is because, you know, oftentimes when we take a look at the conventions now, they're highly scripted. We obviously know who the Republican or the Democratic nominee is going to be. It's basically one big party, if you will. Now, of course, there's a lot of business that goes on at these conventions. Both conventions rewrite their platforms and so forth. But we know there's no drama. I talk to a lot of reporters out there, and they say, oh, we missed the days when there was a brokered convention because that's when there was a lot of excitement. And quite frankly, that's when the process was really working itself through the process.
Right. However, I also think the conventions have gotten later and later. And so you look at conventions in August into September, and these candidates need to turn the corner for the general election. And so I do think, you know, there's risk in having a brokered convention. For party faithful, it's amazing. It would be an amazing experience. For the general public, I can't imagine that being on TV in these modern times.
The average viewer out there is probably saying to themselves, I don't even know why the conventions even need to happen, because everyone is coronated, if you will, months beforehand. It's all, as I said, highly scripted. Can you walk the viewer through specifically what a convention, what do you do at a convention for those who have never even been to a convention? And by the way, this year, the Democratic National Convention is going to be in North Carolina and Charlotte, and the Republican National Convention is going to be in the state of Florida in Tampa.
Certainly. Well, this really is part of the party process. So you mentioned that the platform discussions that occur, the issues that occur, that process starts at the very local level for both parties. So as the parties go through their primary and caucus and their local and state conventions, they put forward ideas about their platform. So that is one piece. So
and let me stop you there for a second.
Yes.
What is a platform for those who may not know what that is?
Certainly. A platform is basically a set of issues that the party is saying it would like to work on and support. And so that is a piece of what happens. Most of those discussions take place off camera, but that is an important part for the party structure. There are committees and other things that are at work in that. It's also a time for you know, party faithful to get together, and you don't get that opportunity very often. So every 4 years, the party faithful get together and they discuss the future of their party, and they get to think about what else they might be working on, and frankly, organize themselves for the general election.
So basically what I hear you saying is conventions are still very much needed in this country.
I do think so. I don't think it's time to do away with conventions, but I do think both parties have to be thoughtful about how they're engaging the general public. And I do think both parties have used the conventions as a time to talk more publicly about their issues, to feature some of their up-and-coming candidates and elected officials, and look at it really as a time to turn the corner into the general election.
You know, it's interesting you mention that, because I remember, I think most people remember Invesco Field, the last night of the Democratic Convention in 2008. It was held in Denver, Colorado. Then Senator Obama, the Democratic nominee, he decided to take the convention out of the convention halls and to take it to Invesco Field, which is obviously the large stadium. The reason why he did that, at least the spin from the Obama campaign, was, you know what, we want to open this up. We want to have tens of thousands of ordinary individuals who, quite frankly, have no, they just would not have any other opportunity to come to a convention except in this context. Do you think that was a good move, and do you think the Republicans will do something similar in 2012?
I do think it was a good move, and I do think you'll see President Obama do something similar at this next convention. I think the Republicans should do something similar as well to engage the public, and I do think it's important to think about how you use the convention that way. What will it be for them? Who am I to say? But
as a Democrat,
I think they should. I think they should.
JoDee Winterhof, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Robert.
Thank you for walking us through this complicated Byzantine model of conventions and so forth.
Absolutely.
Keep up the good work. And thank you for joining us for this edition of Comcast Newsmakers On the Vote. I'm Robert Trainum. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next time. Take care.